Good morning, everyone. Just before we get started at 9, can anyone see my screen and do I sound okay?
We can
Yeah.
see it.
All right, great. Thank you. Mhm. All right, looks like it's 9 a.m. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. With that, let's call this meeting to order. So welcome to the first TSM&O meeting of the year. We'll also be meeting October. So moving on to public comments. I don't believe we've received any, but Grace or Kelly, can you confirm?
We have received zero public comments.
Okay. Is there anyone online that has any public comments for the group? Seeing none, we'll move on to our sole action item, which is agenda item 3A, approval of the meeting minutes back in our last meeting in October 27th, 2025. Copy of the meeting minutes were included in the agenda packet for your review. Does anyone have any comments or revisions they would like to see made before we put this up for a vote by consensus? All right. Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the TSM&O meeting minutes for October 27th, 2025?
So moved.
And who is that? Vishal? So
Yep,
Vishal made the
Vishal.
motion. And then can I get a second?
Second.
All right, I missed that. Who was that?
Amy Nelson.
All right, thank you, Amy. Great. Now, can I get an all in favor vote? Silence will be assumed to be in favor. Are there any opposed? I suppose motion should be all in favor vote, say aye or be silent. Sounds like it
Aye.
passes. All right, meeting minutes approved. We can continue to reports and presentations. We have a standing agenda item for jurisdiction project updates. We haven't received any submittals in advance, but I did want to open the floor for any local project updates from jurisdictions. I do know FDOT has a couple of project updates later on in their report, but is there anything at the jurisdiction level? All right, not seeing any. So for the MPO report, we just have a couple study updates. I see we have Mariana from our transit study. We just wanted to just provide a brief update on some of our projects that might be somewhat related to TSM&O and transit, and the freight study. The regional transit and the regional freight study are currently underway by the MPO, and for the freight study, we'll be identifying like choke points and freight congestion. And with the transit study, we're certainly looking at TSP, the TSP pilot projects, as well as other potential improvements that could be made in the region. And there was also, moving on from studies, there was interest at the last meeting expressed in the region-wide ATMS update. For some background, Manatee County requested FDOT complete an ATMS update, and FDOT advised the county to coordinate with the MPO for a regional ATMS master plan, which was added to the 2050 cost feasible plan with funding identified for initial planning and design in the 2031 to 2035 time band. So that's where we were as of the last meeting, and I just wanted to make a quick update that the MPO did submit an FDOT priority application in the 2026 call for projects. And also with the UPWP that we recently adopted, we're going to be updating I believe it's let me pull it up. We're going to update the congestion management plan and the regional TSM&O master plan would be a supplement to that effort, and we'll keep this group in the loop as we make progress on those efforts. And with that, that's the MPO update. If there's any questions, we can take those now. If not, we can move on to the FDOT report. All right. Do we have anyone from FDOT here today?
Good morning, Nick. I'm Kathleen Keene. I am with VHB, a consultant working with FDOT, and I am here to provide the TSM&O master plan update.
Okay, great. I'll stop sharing my screen. And do you have the presentation to share, or would you like me to put it up?
Yes,
Okay,
let
great.
me go ahead and share.
Okay, also, Catherine Chenault with FDOT District 1. I oversaw the production of the TSM&O master plan for the district. So if there are questions following, I can answer potentially if Kathleen is unable.
Thank you. All right. Hopefully everyone can see my screen, Nick.
Yep.
Yes.
It's up.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone. As I noted previously, my name is Kathleen Keene. I am with VHB, and we were the consultants supporting Catherine Chenault and her team at D1 on the TSM&O master plan. So a little bit ago, actually, I joined this group and shared an update kind of at a midpoint of our master plan development. And then we have since completed the master plan. So here to kind of share the resulting recommendations and the work that we completed in the interim time period. So I will do a quick recap of the first portions of the plan. So share the mission, vision, and goals that we developed specific to this plan, as well as the identification of the top 5 priority corridors for each of the counties included in this plan. And I will say the master plan included the coastal communities. So Charlotte, Lee, Sarasota, Manatee, Collier, and then also Polk County. And this presentation is specific to Sarasota and Manatee today. And then the new information that hasn't been shared, at least with this specific group, is the gap analysis that we completed on those top 5 quarters and those resulting recommendations. So as a reminder for those that haven't seen this before, we did develop a mission and vision specific for the plan to kind of guide us throughout this process. So as you read each of these statements, you'll note that there's elements of technology woven through those. And then I will also note that we identified a set of 8 goals that were focused around safety, mobility, resilience, communications, and workforce development. All those goals and additional detail I'll share is included in the report if anybody does want to dive into those further. But the goals were very important, especially as we were identifying recommendations to make sure that our recommendations align back with the goals of the study. So we did go through a process for each of those 6 counties and to identify the top 5 priority quarters within those. And the way we did that was through a data-driven approach. We had 6 overarching metrics, things like roadway characteristics, volume and future growth, presence of transit or freight, and safety that we considered to ultimately develop a methodology and a scoring system where we ranked the quarters. So the top 5 quarters for Sarasota County are shown on the screen. So US 301, Fruitville Road, US 41, University Parkway, and Clark Road. And then similarly, we did the same thing for Manatee County. And those top 5 quarters are 53rd Avenue, Cortez Road, US 41, 2 segments of that, ranking 3 and 4, and then another section of 53rd Avenue. So once we had identified these top 5 quarters, we then completed a very robust analysis. So we worked with each of the local agencies to collect information and completed what we called a gap analysis to understand where gaps might exist with the existing technology infrastructure. So we did this for each county, and then we kind of summarized that up at the regional level. So that's what I'm showing, the regional summary on this screen right here. So we looked at all of the technologies that are listed in the second column. Those were grouped kind of more broadly into safety, mobility, and performance items, as well as a resilient transportation system. And then for each of those technologies, we identified a key action that would need to be taken. So for instance, in the safety set of technologies, deploying and expanding further coverage, and then we identified that operational impact. So, the benefit that it would provide to the community, the motoring public out there. And again, that operational impact also directly ties back to the goals, making sure that we were aligned. I'll leave this on the screen for a moment, just for folks to take a look there. In the mobility and performance category, a lot of those key actions really focus on implementing coverage for reliable use, and then resulting in improved travel times and reliability. And on the resilient transportation system side, completing and upgrading coverage to improve communications and provide redundancy during severe weather events. And then so from that gap analysis, so we had a really good picture of what's there today, where gaps might exist, and to align with the study where we want to focus and identify recommendations. So we did create recommendations along each of the 5 corridors for each county. So what's shown on the screen here is just the Sarasota County ones. So the way these slides are organized are we have each of the five corridors listed. So you see their rank, the quarter name, and then the areas of recommendation focus in the third column. And then we also provided both a range and an estimated cost for these items. And then that last piece that we did was really looking at, along these quarters, any other program projects where some of these recommendations might be able to be aligned with those. So is there an opportunity to expand a project that's, on the books or upcoming, to include some of these components as well? And I will share for Manatee County. The same thing here, quarter name, the primary recommendation focus, estimated cost, as well as alignment with potential projects. And I think with that, I know we were asked to keep this brief, so I know this is a lot of information. We do have the full report available, which has very detailed sections. It is organized by county, and it'll step through for each corridor, the gap analysis that was completed, so you can understand what's there, and much more detail into these recommendations as well. But my last slide is just sharing myself and Kat's contact information if you didn't have that. Anything, but I think Nick, we're happy to entertain a few questions if folks have those.
Yeah, absolutely. We certainly have time for it. Does anyone in the group have any questions for Kathleen and team?
This is Tamara Shells with Breeze Transit.
Hey, Tamara.
Hi there. So I just had a question about the TSP as included as some of the recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed that in Sarasota County, it was identified as a recommendation for each of the corridors, but I didn't see it in Manatee County as a recommendation. Right. So I was just wondering why that was.
Yes, so that was through our review. The quarters in Manatee County already had TSP along them. So this is, again, focused on those gaps, or I will say, and as you dive into the report further, in some areas, a technology might exist. However, an upgrade may be needed. So the report also kind of clarifies that level of investment that might align.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Not hearing anything. Um, with that, would you mind throwing up the project? I think you guys sent me a nice map of the current of the projects that are currently in the pipeline. I think that might be worth sharing with the group too.
Yes, let me get that queued up real quick. I'm just going to stop sharing my
Thanks.
screen when I switch over, and then I will reshare.
Thanks.
All right. So this is a map of the currently funded projects within Sarasota and Manatee counties. And I guess, Kat, did you want to, or I should ask Nick, did you want us to elaborate further on each of these, or, and if so, I would ask.
Yeah, just a brief overview would be great. I know a lot of them, are doing more or less the same thing, but I think it'd be good to break them down.
Okay. Some of the ones that are ongoing now in design are the first three, the blue, the yellow, and the red. So those are in Sarasota County. They are in design right now. Those are all, so it's 2 projects on 41, and 1 on Fruitville. And those are, one will be letting in January, and the other 2 will be letting in the fiscal year 2028. So that would be July 27 and beyond. At this point, they're both set in July of 2027. However, that may flex as we finalize our letting plan for the next fiscal year. And those all include ATSPM detection upgrades and connected vehicle RSU infrastructure. So there'll be some different things going on. The yellow actually is, no, sorry. The blue is goes with, there's a 3R project that will be replacing structures as well and resurfacing. So there's a lot more work that our TSM&O projects going with. We just had the bids received for the Lilac. It's up in Manatee on Cortez. That project is ATSPM and connected vehicle, and was the gap remaining from a 3R project on the west side of Cortez that will also install ATSPM detection capabilities with connected vehicle RSUs, CCTV cameras at each signalized intersection. And we should be going to contract here any day now for that construction project. The 3R is already in construction. I don't know if they've mobilized yet, though. The final project is US 301. It's from Telebast to 9th Street. That is a future project. It got moved out due to balancing of the work program. We expect to begin design in July of 2028, and the project includes ATSPM detection, the connected vehicle RSUs, and a piece that we haven't done before, which is the freight signal priority. So that's going to be the first of its kind for the district.
Yeah, that's exciting. Thank you very much, Kat. Does anyone have any questions about these projects? All right, not seeing any. Thank you both very much for the FDOT update.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I guess with that, we can move on to once around the table. If anyone just has any events or anything they would like to plug at this point, that would be great. I know for me, for our transit study, we have a workshop that we're working on getting scheduled and a location decided upon for July, where we're looking to get kind of stakeholders. So I feel like there'd be a lot of overlap with this group to kind of get feedback on that, and we'll certainly keep you all updated on that. But as far as from the MPO, I think that's about it for what I have for once around the table. Does anyone else have anything to share? All right, I'm not seeing any. So with that, it is 9:19 a.m. and we can adjourn. Thank you very much for everyone for joining. And I believe the map and such came a little after the agenda packet came out, so we can send that out as a follow-up as well. So thank you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you.